Before you chase success, understand this. Your mind is a starting line, not your money, not your connections. Your mindset decides your future. If you're ready to think bigger, live bolder, and master the one thing that controls everything, hit subscribe and let's rewire your mind for success. Success is not something you find. It's something you create with your mind. This is a law that governs every achievement known to man. Napoleon Hill called it the foundation of all riches. Thoughts are things, not just passing ideas or empty daydreams, but real, living forces that shape your reality. Every great fortune, every empire, every revolution in history began in one place, the invisible workshop of the mind. The battlefield is not out there in the world. It's inside you. You were born with potential, the kind no one can measure. But potential alone means nothing without mental control. You've seen it. Brilliant people trapped by fear. Talented individuals paralyzed by doubt. People with resources, connections, and gifts, but no power over their thoughts. And then there are others, people with nothing but hunger, vision, and an unshakable mindset, who rise beyond their limits and become legends. What's the difference? Not background, not education, not luck. It's the way they think. Success is not reserved for the chosen few. It's not decided by fate or handed out randomly. Success is a decision, a discipline, a mindset. You must think like the person you want to become before you ever arrive there. You must protect your thoughts like gold, because your mind is the vault of your future. If you don't rule it, it will rule you. So the question is not whether success is possible. It is whether you are ready to build and guard the mindset that makes it inevitable. Success does not begin with circumstances. It begins with beliefs. This is the unshakable truth that separates those who rise from those who remain stuck. If you hand two people the exact same challenge, one with defeated mindset and the other with success mindset, you will witness two entirely different outcomes. One sees the wall. The other sees the ladder. One sees pain. The other sees a path. Because long before you conquer anything in the outer world, you must first conquer how you see it within. Napoleon Hill taught that faith is not just a spiritual word. It is the energy that drives results. When a man has faith in his purpose, when his vision is so clear that doubt cannot live in the same room, he becomes dangerous. Definiteness of purpose becomes his compass. He is no longer wandering. His energy is no longer scattered. He knows where he's going, and the mind, once given a target, begins to draw in every resource, idea, and opportunity to get there. That's the power of mental clarity. The world doesn't bend for the confused, but it responds to the focused. You've heard people say, when I get money, I'll believe I can succeed. But the success mindset flips it entirely. Believe, and the money comes. Success isn't about what's in your hand. It's about what's in your head. The difference is subtle but powerful. Let me tell you about a man named Elijah. He was born in the slums of Detroit, raised by a single mother who scrubbed floors just to feed her 3 children. Poverty wasn't just their condition. It was their environment, their expectation, their daily reality. But Elijah read one book, then another, then another. He stumbled on Hill's teachings. Something in him awakened. He began writing affirmations on his bedroom wall. I am a millionaire. I am a leader. I am free. At first, even his siblings laughed. But he refused to stop. He studied real estate, sales, business. He cleaned up his speech. He cleaned up his friends. He replaced every victim thought with a vision. By age 27, Elijah owned his own brokerage and employed 15 people, most of whom came from the same streets he escaped. He didn't get lucky. He rewired his mind. That's what Hill meant when he said, the mind is the master power that molds and makes. You do not become successful by chance. You mold your life moment by how you think. What you believe becomes what you do, and what you do becomes who you are. So ask yourself, what is the world reflecting back to you right now? Because whatever it is, it started in your mind. Change the thought, and you begin to change the world. Every adversity carries with it the seed of an equal or greater benefit. That's not just a comforting phrase. It's a command to change how you interpret your struggles. Failure isn't the enemy. It's the classroom. But only those with a trained mind ever stay long enough to learn the lesson. A poor mindset sees failure as final. It says, "This means I'm not good enough," and turns back. But a success mindset looks at failure like a mirror. What is this trying to teach me? What must I do differently? What belief must I outgrow? Failure is never personal unless you make it personal. It doesn't say anything about your worth unless you allow it to. It's not rejection. It's redirection. It's not the end. It's an invitation to go deeper, to get smarter, to become stronger. But if your mind is not trained to look for the seed inside the setback, you'll miss the benefit and carry only the bitterness. There was a man named Darnell who dreamed of building a marketing agency. His first launch flopped. His second nearly ruined him financially. His third left him depressed, confused, and humiliated. Most people around him said, 3 times? Maybe it's just not for you. But Darnell didn't accept that. He realized something that changed everything. He had been building from ambition, but not from identity. He was chasing money, but not aligning with mastery. So he stopped. He studied, not just marketing, but psychology, leadership, systems, and most importantly, himself. He asked, who must I become to succeed at this level? That question flipped the switch. Darnell went back, not with the same plan, but with a new mindset. He changed his messaging. He built a team instead of trying to do it all. He focused on value before volume. Within 18 months, he had not only recovered every loss, but built a business that exceeded his original vision. But more than that, he became someone new, someone resilient, someone wise. The failures didn't defeat him. They trained him. This is the secret. Failure is not the problem. Your interpretation of it is. The most successful people you admire have failed more times than you've even attempted. The difference? They didn't stay down. They didn't call it the end. They treated it like a stepping stone, a laboratory, a lesson, because you don't fail when you fall. You fail when your mind stays down, when you internalize the loss and stop trying, when you begin to believe the lie that this is all there is for you. But when you choose to rise with new insight, new clarity, and new hunger, failure becomes fuel. And every time you get up wiser, you become more unstoppable. That's the power of a trained mind. It doesn't see failure as a signal to quit. It sees it as a message. You're close. Keep going. Learn, adjust, rise. You become what you think about most. That's not just a motivational phrase. It's one of the most powerful laws governing the human experience. It's called the law of dominant thought, and it means this. Whatever occupies your mind most consistently will begin to shape your decisions, your behavior, your results, and eventually your reality. Whether you dwell on fear or faith, doubt or confidence, failure or progress, your dominant thoughts set the tone of your entire life. Success-minded people know this. That's why they guard their thoughts like gold. They don't let just anything take up space in their minds. They filter negativity. They cancel mental noise. They don't dwell on what they can't do. They reinforce what they can. Because the mind, like soil, doesn't care what seed you plant. If you plant fear, you grow anxiety. If you plant purpose, you grow results. The power lies in the gardener. That's why he'll emphasize daily affirmations and auto-suggestion. Not because they sound good, but because they reprogram your subconscious. Your subconscious mind is always listening. It doesn't argue with you. It accepts whatever you repeat, especially with emotion, as truth. So when you tell yourself, I'm not good enough, your subconscious believes you and begins to make it true. But when you say, I am becoming stronger every day, your mind searches for proof of that. Over time, your actions begin to follow your words. It's no coincidence that the world's most successful people visualize before they act. They don't just move randomly. They see it before they build it. They close their eyes and mentally walk through success they're working toward. They speak to themselves with clarity, power, and direction. They don't wait for the world to validate their vision. They validate it internally first. That's mindset mastery. Napoleon Hill said, whatever the mind can conceive and believe, it can achieve. That means you don't need to know how yet. You just need to believe it's possible and keep that belief active in your daily thoughts. Because if you keep the picture alive in your mind, life begins to move in that direction. Here's the practical side. Every time a fear thought enters your mind, catch it, replace it, reframe it. Don't let fear get comfortable. When you hear, "What if I fail?" respond with, "What if I fly?" When your mind says, "I've never done this before," answer back, "That's why it's time to learn." Do this not once, but every single day, because repetition is the gateway to belief, and belief is the birthplace of transformation. What you allow to dominate your thoughts will quietly sculpt your destiny. You don't need permission to shift your thinking, just intention. If you want to change your life, change what your mind rehearses in the dark. Train it to see power, possibility, and purpose. Eventually, the world outside will match what you believed on the inside. Many have dreams. Few have discipline. And that's the difference between inspiration and transformation. Everyone wants to succeed. Everyone has moments of motivation. But the people who actually cross the finish line, the ones who turn their vision into reality, are the ones who show up with discipline, even when emotion fades. Because a success mindset doesn't chase comfort. It commits to consistency. It understands that destiny is not made in giant leaps, but in small, quiet habits repeated daily. Napoleon Hill taught the power of controlled attention. Your ability to focus your mental energy on one purpose and hold it there. Most people scatter their focus. They chase 10 things and catch none. But the success-minded individual picks one goal and gives it their full attention day after day. And then comes personal initiative, the inner drive to act without being told, to rise without applause, to move forward even when no one else sees what you're building. That's discipline. That's power. Discipline is how you feed your mind with truth before the world feeds it with fear. It's how you speak your affirmations out loud when your circumstances look nothing like your vision. It's how you pick up the book instead of the excuse, take the risk instead of the delay, and act boldly when everything inside you whispers wait. That's what builds inner strength. Not luck, not timing. Daily choices made with intentional thought. There's a man named Corey. He grew up in a small town where no one expected much from him. No one in his family had ever gone to college. He stuttered. He was average in school. He had no connections, no advantage, just a burning desire to become more. He couldn't control his environment, but he could control his habits. So every morning, he woke up at 5 a.m. He read for 1 hour. He wrote out his goals. He practiced speaking in the mirror. He applied for internships that turned him down, then applied again. And again. Slowly, the rejections became interviews. The interviews became offers. The offers became access. Today, Corey is a respected leader in his industry, not because he had more talent, but because he outdisciplined his doubts. That's what most people miss. You don't have to be fearless. You just have to be more consistent than your fear. When a voice in your head says not good enough, your actions must say, I'm doing it anyway. That's self-discipline. And as Hill said, self-discipline begins with the mastery of your thoughts. If you can master the way you think, if you can act in alignment with your highest vision even when your feelings try to drag you backward, you will walk a path most only dream of. Success doesn't respond to wishes. It responds to work. And the real work happens in the quiet hours, when no one is watching, when your only opponent is the part of you that wants to quit. That's where champions are built. That's where reality changes. Your mind is a garden. Your environment is the soil. No matter how strong your mindset is, if it's planted in the wrong environment, it will struggle to grow. The people you spend time with, the voices you listen to, the energy that's around you, all of it silently influences the way you think, feel, and act. You can have the right seed of purpose in your heart, but if the soil is toxic, it won't take root. That's why guarding your environment is not optional. It's a requirement for success. Success requires pruning. You must remove the voices that feed fear, jealousy, complacency, and self-doubt. These aren't always loud enemies. Sometimes they show up as close friends, draining conversations, or distractions dressed as entertainment. You don't need to be harsh, but you do need to be intentional. Protecting your energy isn't selfish. It's wise. It's how you build a space where your mindset can evolve. At the same time, success also requires nurturing. You must actively seek out voices, friendships, and content that stretch you higher. People who challenge your thinking, inspire your discipline, and remind you what's possible. That's what Napoleon Hill called the mastermind group, a circle of aligned individuals who bring out the best in one another. These relationships aren't just emotional support. They are mental fuel. You rise faster when you rise together. Start with an audit. Who are the top 5 people or sources you hear from every day? Are they reinforcing your vision or subtly tearing it down? Do you leave conversations more focused or more confused? The answers matter. Your environment isn't just where you live. It's what you allow into your head and heart. Clean it up. Curate it with care. And if you can't change the people around you right now, change the content you consume. Read the voices of the successful. Listen to wisdom on repeat. Build a daily environment of success, even in silence. Because the right mindset needs the right soil. You don't have to be perfect. You just have to be planted in the right place. And when you are, your growth becomes unstoppable. The mind is the gateway to all power. Everything you've ever wanted, freedom, success, peace, impact, begins in one place, the space between your ears. And what you allow to grow there will shape every outcome in your life. Mindset is not a buzzword. It is the foundation of transformation. When you combine belief, discipline, faith, and the right environment, your mindset becomes unstoppable. This is not theory. This is law. You don't get success. You don't stumble into it. You grow into it mentally before anything ever shifts physically. Success doesn't start with your job title, your bank balance, or your background. It starts with how you think when no one's watching. It starts with what you repeat to yourself when you fail. It starts with whether you build excuses or build belief. As Hill said, you either control your mind or it controls you. There's no middle ground. Either you take ownership of your thoughts or you become a servant to your fears. So here's the final challenge. For just 1 week, control your thoughts with relentless focus. Catch every negative whisper. Replace every fear with power. Speak life into your goals every morning and every night. Choose to think like the person you want to become. Do this for 7 days, not casually, but with full intensity. And watch what happens. Your energy will shift. Your choices will change. And your world will start to reflect the power you've always carried within you. If you found value in these insights inspired by Napoleon Hill, make sure to subscribe for more powerful lessons on mindset, wealth, and personal growth. We share timeless wisdom, practical strategies, and motivational content to help you unlock your full potential. Stay inspired, stay focused, master your mind,